Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Please feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video or any other videos that I've posted in the past. If you have any videos that you would like me to make, please let me know. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And this is a salmon dish that I cooked last night, and I have to say it's probably one of the best salmon dish that I ever cooked. And of course, with flavor chasing, I'm continue to improve the flavor of my dish. So in this video, I would like to explain to you why this salmon dish has become better than all the others that I have cooked in the past. And like the saying goes, practice makes perfect. I have a lot of opportunity to practice cooking salmon, and the primary reason is that my wife loves and enjoys salmon. So I always purchase salmon that are fresh, that has never been frozen, particularly when they're on sale. This salmon is a cold hot salmon, and I purchased this in July. When they're on sale, they only cost about $6 a pound. It cannot be any better. So I purchased a couple pounds. And one thing I discovered, the best way to cook salmon is to cut them up into small pieces so you can cook them individually at the size as to what they're supposed to be. Because otherwise, if you cook the entire piece of salmon, as you can see, the salmon are different in thickness from one part of the salmon to the next, and it's very likely for you to overcook them. And after I cut them up, I'm going to store them in Ziploc sandwich bag. And the wonderful thing about this approach is you can create any sizes of storage you want. This will be all based on what you need for each particular meal. In this case, I use about 4 to 6 ounces of salmon because that's all my wife likes. She doesn't like to eat a whole big piece of salmon. And when you're using this approach, you can almost have salmon anytime you want. And I freeze it in such a way that I can thaw them out readily. So anytime when I want to have salmon, I just get to the freezer and took out a bed, and I will put them in a bowl of lukewarm water, and they will be ready for me to cook in about 10 minutes. I personally love Brussels sprouts, but my wife is somewhat equivocal about Brussels sprouts, so I decided that perhaps I cook the Brussels sprout with the salmon. This might get her interested in the Brussels sprout. So I thought I'm going to give it a try. Brussels sprout has a good shelf life, and I always have some in the refrigerator, so that is an easy choice. Another vegetable I'm going to include with this salmon dish is carrot. Now this I know is going to be a hit. My wife loves carrot. This is one of her favorite vegetables. So adding carrot to this dish I know will be maybe a balance between the carrot and the Brussels sprout. So the carrot again always available in my advanced prepping because of its long shelf life. Now the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to blanch the Brussels sprouts. Now blanching is an efficient way to soften the texture of vegetables that are fibrous, and Brussels sprout is definitely one of them. And I'm going to blanch this for about 4 minutes, and then at about 2-minute time point, I add about 1 cup of carrot. A carrot takes less time to cook compared to Brussels sprouts. 2 minutes will be just about right. And this is the approach which I call it a sequential blanching. I blanch those vegetables that take longer time, and then I blanch those that take shorter time. And so consequently, I can have both of them to reach about the same texture level of how I like it using this approach. And to stop the blanching, I put them into a bowl of cold water. This will prevent them from cooking further. And also, the cold water tends to provide this factor that causes the vegetable to actually more vivid in color. As in this case, you can see the Brussels sprouts look really nice and green. I call cooking this dish combinatorial stir frying because I'm going to cook all the ingredients separately and then combine them together. The reason is very simple because some of these ingredients are very different in characteristics. The vegetables are very different from the salmon, and therefore, in order to maintain the texture of the salmon, it's much better if I cook them separately. And the approach for cooking the salmon, I frequently call it shallow frying. It's basically, it's a pan frying technique. And the advantage of this method is that I'm able to control the doneness of the salmon by cutting them into small pieces. The most important thing about using this template is that I put the salmon with the skin side down on the surface of the wok, and this will allow the skin to be charred. And charring the skin has significant impact on the flavor of the salmon. In fact, my wife loved this way of how to cook the salmon, and she always want me to use this approach. Once the skin is charred, it produces a nice crispy flavor. And the reason the skin tastes much better when you char them, because while you cook the skin, it will drive the oil out underneath the skin, and this will remove the fishiness that sometimes associate with salmon skin. Now, the nice thing about having the salmon in individual pieces is that I can treat them separately, and I can monitor their state of doneness. And those that are thinner, obviously, it's going to cook faster. So I can remove them and when they are ready. So I will avoid overcooking them, as those pieces that are thicker will take longer time to cook. Now, the ability to char the skin requires the wok to be quite hot. And so by now, I can see some of the pieces are almost ready, and the other pieces which I can control exactly how long I want to cook them. This is a great method, and using this method, it provides me with much greater control of how much doneness that I want the salmon to be. And because of this reason, the salmon individual pieces taste much more flavorful, and they did not affect the flavor of the salmon at all. Now the salmon is almost done. As you can see that it takes only about 1 to 2 minutes to cook them. One of the reasons is because they are cut into small pieces, make them much faster and to be able to reach the type of doneness that I want. So now I'm going to remove them, and I'm going to keep the oil in the wok. I'm now ready to stir fry those vegetables that I have blanched earlier. Before I stir fry the vegetable, it is important that you should remove as much fluid as possible because you want the vegetable to be able to slightly fry by the oil. Now, the oil which contains omega-3 fatty acid that are produced by the salmon will be absorbed by the vegetables. That makes the vegetable taste better. Of course, it also has much greater nutritional value. Since the vegetable has already been cooked, basically the final step is just to simply flavor the vegetables, and ultimately I want to create a sauce. I'm going to flavor it with about 1.5 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Again, you can flavor it any way that you would like. Sometimes I do flavor it just with my wok with tak basic seasoning mix. But in this case, because I plan to create a sauce, the oyster sauce will create more umami flavor. To create a sauce, there's nothing better in stir frying by using cornstarch. And I usually use about 1 part of cornstarch to about 3 parts of water. Now, the exact ratio is not that important because you can always make adjustments to the in terms of the consistency of the sauce. And however, it is better to have the sauce thicker than thinner because you can always add more water to thin it out. The most important thing is that to make sure your sauce, your cornstarch is well suspended in the water to create a cornstarch water suspension. I usually put it in a bottle or a jar so I can shake it before I add it to the wok. And you should add it right away after you have shaken it. As you can see is that at this point I have already turned the heat down to low or shut the heat off completely. I start to add water to it right away because I noticed that the cornstarch already start to gel. But as you notice that it is very easy to thin out the cornstarch, and this is one great thing about using cornstarch to make a sauce, and everything happens so quickly, and you can make adjustment right on the spot. So I'm going to add a little bit more water because the sauce is a bit thicker than what I would like. Now, people like sauce in many different ways. Sauce play a very important role in almost in all types of cooking. And making a sauce in stir fry is probably one of the easiest way to achieve this goal. And you can make a sauce thin or you can make a sauce thick. At that times, you might not want to have a sauce at all. So it gives you a lot of possibilities, and a sauce can definitely change the culinary experience of a dish. This sauce is a little bit thicker than usual because I want the sauce to carry the flavor. And then I add about 1 teaspoon of hot chili in oil. This will further make the sauce more complex in flavor. This sauce is going to be delicious because of the salmon oil in this sauce, as well, of course, the vegetables, the carrot and the Brussels sprout will provide their own flavor to this sauce. So you can see that this is a dish that's basically using 3 different techniques. The first technique is by blanching the vegetable to create a texture that how you would like it. And the second one is that by pan frying or shallow frying the salmon to the texture that you want. And the final step is to stir fry the vegetables together to make a sauce. And by using this combinatorial method, you can achieve the texture how you would like it. And this is the type of method that I use in professional kitchen. And this is the type of method that will provide the type of a delicacy that you can achieve with almost any ingredients, because ultimately the best flavor and texture of a dish is that to have the contrast between the different food ingredients. So at the end, I'm going to lay the salmon right on top of the dish rather than mix it together with the sauce. And so when we eat the salmon, we can decide whether we want to mix it with the sauce or eat it away as it is. And this provides more options when you eat them. And by cooking it this way, it not only make all the ingredients taste better, but it also provides a far more interesting presentation of this dish. So the last step, I garnish the dish with a little bit of scallion. This is the bottom part of the scallion, which has the strongest onion flavor, and this will give the dish a nice fresh onion flavor. My wife really liked this dish, and to my surprise, she really enjoyed the Brussels sprout. She normally do not eat much Brussels sprout because she thought the flavor was too strong. But with this, the sauce really carried the Brussels sprout, and by blanching it, the Brussels sprout is in a nice texture that she really enjoy. Okay, I post a video each day to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine, so it will be practical, efficient, and creative using my fast cooking system. So you can make home cooking as your daily routine. And if you'd like to learn more about this fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.